There are so many things that have happened on Instagram and TikTok for the month of February. And oh my goodness, I want to try to keep this episode short, but I think it's going to be kind of virtually impossible as we talk through the updates for Instagram and for TikTok. And so excited that you're here. If you're trying to grow on either one of those platforms, this is definitely the episode for you. Welcome to the Kia Kelly podcast, because that's me. Every single week, we will be here talking about business, marketing your business, as well as life and anything that can throw at us. Because one thing I know is that when I've been building my business, I am involved in my business. And so I like to help people understand what it all is going to take to build a successful business and have a balanced life. And so here on the podcast, some of the days you're going to absolutely love me. And then other days, you're going to want to throw me away with the trash because you don't want to be bothered with me. But either way, you're going to get your whole life together when you're here on this podcast. So I encourage you to grab your tea and grab your coffee because the Kia Kelly podcast is here. So welcome back to another episode of the Kia Kelly podcast, where we talk about all things business, marketing your business, and having a balanced life. So if you are building an online business and you want to learn how to do so, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel because we have a brand new video that comes out every single week on the show. Actually, 2 episodes that come out. And if you're listening on the podcast, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you hit subscribe. And this is going to be an episode that your friends are going to want to pay attention to. So do me a huge favor while you're doing what you're doing, just do a quick screenshot of the episode and then share it into your IG stories and tag me, and then I'll share it out as well. Okay. So there's a lot that's happening this month on Instagram and on TikTok. And so in an effort to not have like multiple episodes for February, I decided to just do one combined. So you are going to want to make sure that you write down notes. However, if you are watching this on YouTube, we actually have timestamps, which is going to help you tremendously. So those that are listening on the podcast, if you want to be able to write down each point, all you have to do is come to the YouTube channel at Kia Kelly, and then all the timestamps are there, and you can write the notes down there. Okay. So let me go ahead and pull up my notes here because we have a whole lot of things. And so there's going to be like some crossover between what is working well on Instagram this month and what's working on TikTok. But I'm just going to like break them up by Instagram and then by TikTok, because some people are not using Instagram Reels and some are not using TikTok. And I want you to be able to get, I don't want you to feel like, all over the place with this episode. So I'm going to go Instagram first and then I'm going to go TikTok, and I have my notes here on my screen. So one of the things that is working really well on Instagram this month is still using trends, but actually stacking them. Okay. And so what we are seeing is that if you've got a video and you're using a trending audio, but you're also using a trending effect, they are going to help your video get a boost. Now, what does that mean? That means that there's going to be audios on Instagram. And if you look at the audio and there is an arrow pointing up, then that means that audio is trending on Instagram, okay? But also, if you go into effects, you'll see some of the same. But one of the easiest ways to do this is go and find videos in your niche, and then find videos that are actually doing really well. If they're trending, their numbers are up, and they have a trending audio and they have a trending effect. So somebody may have a filter on their video with a trending audio. That is stacking. So then if you find something that is in your niche that is working really well for multiple people in that effect and in that sound, then that's going to give you, here's the sound to use for your video, but also make sure you're using that effect. Now, sometimes you may say, well, I don't really use effects on Instagram, but you could start using them to really help you. But I would use things that are more subtle, especially because you don't want to go from having no filters or no effects to like all these effects. Okay. So that's a way to help your Instagram account for this month. Another thing to note about Instagram this month is that Instagram really wants to make sure that there is audio with every single video that you are posting. Okay. And so audio could be an actual sound. It could be a trend that you're doing a lip sync. Okay. And it could be a voiceover. Voiceovers are great, especially because you're saying certain things for SEO keywords. And so if you're going to post a video, I think this is it makes sense to, I mean, I think you already know this, but I'm just saying it to be said. Make sure that you're either using a trending audio, music, a trend that has audio, but also adding some voiceover to your video, because it's going to give your video a lot more depth of what's happening in your video, because we all like to experience the different things as we're watching your content. So make sure you're doing that this month on Instagram. Another thing to know about voiceovers is that one of the things that we're starting to see on Instagram is that Instagram is really loving when you prioritize voiceovers. So not just having like a video of you multitasking with music over it, but you actually speaking on top of it. So a lot of times with my content, you'll see that I'm like either walking or I'm working and there's music in it, but you also hear me talking in voiceover. Now that's a lot of different layers. You got the video, you got the music, and you got the voiceover. Those three things together, what we're seeing is helping your videos get more range through the I would call it the Instagram For You page, even though it's not a quote unquote For You page, but that's what I would call it because of TikTok. You'll see that you'll find that those videos are performing well because they're stacked with different things in them. Another thing you want to try to do with your content on Instagram this month is you want to try your best to change scenes every 2 to 3 seconds. Now, I know that could feel like a lot, but you definitely can do it. And here's the thing. When you are changing scenes every 2 to 3 seconds, it's giving people different experiences. It's causing them to stay to watch the video all the way to the end. So right now, this is more of a long content where I'm sitting in one space at one time and filming. But one of the things that works extremely well is that if I film some of this vertically sitting at my desk, and then some of it may be me at the left side of my computer or like in my office, and then at the right side, the next could be me in the restroom. The next one could be me in the closet. It could be me in the kitchen, but you really just want to try to have multiple scenes happening in your videos because it just causes people, it gives people a reaction and makes them want to watch the video. Very similar to what happens with movies. Now, this is a tip that I have been saying for quite some time, but don't say link in bio, okay? Don't say link in bio. None of the platforms like it when you say link in bio. Even though they are giving you the option to have a link in your bio, they don't want you to say it. Why? Because what we are seeing is less engagement, less views every time we're saying link in bio, because we're driving people off of the platform. So if you want to get people to get off of the platform, then I highly recommend that you use like a DM automation tool like ManyChat, because Instagram is partners with ManyChat. And so people can type a different keyword and it'll send them a message in their DM and it keeps them there on the platform. But also when you use a tool like DM, like a ManyChat or DM automation, what happens is that now people are engaging with your post. So one of the things that I try to do is I try to get people to comment all the time. Either it's a keyword for ManyChat to answer a question, give me a heart emoji, something, because the more engagement you get on the post, the more Instagram is seeing, oh, this was working well. People actually like this piece of content. Let me keep pushing it out. So you want to try to use a tool like a DM automation tool like ManyChat to get people to your bio link, but don't say link in bio. Another thing that's working on Instagram this month, and it's always working, is like using a trending topic. So it's like if something is happening currently, like this week, last week, or what have you, you want to try to see how you can like collaborate, like bring that into your content. So obviously I teach people how to use Instagram and TikTok to, generate leads and sales. And so last week was the Super Bowl. You had Taylor Swift, Usher. There's so many different things that happened last week, right? And so it's still very current. We're all still talking about it. And now is a great time to create content that is talking about that particular thing, but in your own way. So I use memes of Taylor Swift and Usher and Alicia Keys to talk about our free guide for 75 hooks, because we know people need to have, hooks in their videos. So we have this free guide for people to download. And so we use images as memes for people to be able to engage with our posts or what have you. But ultimately, we are trying to talk about topics that are trending, but make them make sense with our content. Another thing that you want to have happen on Instagram is that you want to get shares. You want to get shares like it is your last name. One of the things that happens with shares is that If you post content and everybody is sharing it, that means you are reaching people that is connected to their audience. So one, that is helping you reach a totally different audience of people because they're sharing. But also what we are seeing is that when people are sharing, it is 400% times more likely for you to get more views on your content per what Instagram wants. So if you want to get the most out of a post, try to get people not to save it and engage with it, but try to get people to share the content. Instagram loves it, and then you love it because now you're reaching a brand new audience. Another thing that you want to focus on this month with Instagram is you want to get as many replays as possible. Because if you have content and people are looping it, they're watching it over and over again, what that is sending to Instagram is that, hey, people are loving this content. And so it's important that if you're going to create content, record it in a way that causes people to loop. Now, I am not a fan of recording short content with a lot of text on screen. That's not my jam, but a lot of people do that. I am more so saying like, okay, if I'm going to create a short piece of content that I want people to loop, I want to serve them some way on the screen. And I want to keep the video short and to the point where they have to loop it. So I posted a video this week where I am talking about how I made $2 million after going through a divorce. And I said, read the captions on how. Now, when they go to the captions, I go in detail about what I did. But I made it short enough to where they have to loop it when they're going to the caption. So just make sure that you're not just saying go to the caption, because it has to be of value to people, okay? Otherwise, they're going to be like, they're so annoyed with you. If they're following you, they may just unfollow you. And one of the last things you want to make sure that you do is that you want to make sure that your profile is SEO keyword friendly, because Instagram, again, is trying to make sure that everything is searchable and all the things so that they know who to send your content to. So one of the things for SEO is your bio. In your bio, you don't want to say, like, if it's, okay, for me, I don't want to say, I love Jesus, I love cats, and I'm single, because that's not what my account is about. My account is about teaching you how to use TikTok and Instagram Reels to grow your business, okay? So my bio basically says just that, okay? My bio says just that in an effort to tell Instagram who I am, who I serve, and what I serve them with for SEO, but also to tell my audience, or when they reach me, that they know, oh, this is who she is, this is who she's about, and this is what I'm going to get from her account. But also, when you're creating content, you want to be very intentional with, one, the text on screen, because your text on screen is searchable, okay? Then it's the words that you're speaking in your video or your voiceovers. All that text is being picked up by Instagram, because remember, you can click on captions and now all the captions appear on your screen. So they know what your video is about if you're actually speaking. So make sure you're using keywords when you're speaking into your video. And then the last thing is your description. So I recommend that you try to have your description with the keyword phrases that people are using. So if I have a video that's talking about how to do a voiceover or how to remove this, that, and that, whatever, then I'm going to say how to remove da 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 da. So that way, when someone comes onto Instagram and they're searching for that I am actually, that they actually find me. Okay. So listen, I know that this is a lot of information to learn about what is happening on Instagram this month. But yet again, this is going to be a little bit of a longer episode because now we're going to talk about TikTok. But listen, here's the deal. If you're going to have success on any social media platform, one of the things you want to do is you want to always be learning, okay? You want to always be learning, even if it feels a little bit overwhelming because they're always making changes. For me, I'm always trying to learn because things are changing all the time. And this is my business, okay? So always tell yourself that be learning, because if you're going to use social media to grow your business, especially organically, then it's definitely in your best interest if you're really learning about what is working there. So now let's talk about what is working on TikTok this month. So one of the biggest things that's working on TikTok this month is landscape videos that are over 1 minute long, okay? Because, last week I was saying that I felt like that TikTok wanted to focus on more long form content because they want to keep people on the platform longer. I still do agree that is the thing, but I had this revelation today where I realized that one of the things that is happening is that Yes, they want people to stay there longer, and they want people uploading longer content that people can watch. But also, one thing that has happened over the last couple of years is that they have been doing things with television. So we've got the if you have a smart TV, you have the TikTok icon that they can pull up TikTok videos on your screen. Well, what has been going on is that these videos are pulling up vertically, and most people don't want to watch vertical videos on TV because they're not full screen. But if we start creating content that is landscape mode and more long form, when we pull up those videos on our television screens, guess what happens? Those videos are now full screen. So from a TikTok standpoint, they'll be able to run ads on using television for TikTok, but also people will sit down in front of their TV and they may start watching TikTok videos from their TV. Now you may say, I'm not doing that right now. That's right now. 2, 3, 4 years ago, we weren't doing vertical video as much as we are doing it now. And so I really think that is one of the major focuses of TikTok for TV. So if you're on TikTok, my strongest encouragement is that you are doing at least one landscape mode video on TikTok per week, okay? And then make sure that it's at least 1 minute in length. Another thing to note about TikTok this month is that if you want to get more views on your content and more followers, then you've got to get more people on the FYP to watch your content all the way through. Okay, because right now, in order to grow an account on TikTok, it's not about your followers. Yes, you can create content that talks directly to them, but to grow your account, you have to talk to people that are on the For You page that don't know you. So you have to be very intentional and strategic with the content that you're putting out. So for me right now, I'm putting out more new content, teaching new people to TikTok how to create content on TikTok. Now, the thing is that my older followers may say, oh, this is good, I already know this. But new people would say, oh my God, I did not know that. Thanks for this. And if I continue to put out content like that, some new stuff and some for my followers, then my account's going to continue to grow because the new people are finding value in that, the videos that I'm putting out. So make sure that when you're putting out content on TikTok this month, that you're not just creating it from the standpoint that everybody knows who you are already, but you got to create it from the standpoint that you're introducing yourself to new people while reintroducing yourself to your followers. And so one way to get more views on your content on TikTok this month, and the same thing happened last month, is that what TikTok wants is that once they serve your video to people, they want you to get at least 70% of the viewers, that first 200 viewers, to watch your video at least the first 3 seconds. Because like I say all the time, is that you've got 1.5 seconds to make an impression and get people to continue watching your video. So your goal is to get people to watch your first 3 seconds minimum so that the TikTok will continue pushing out your content on the For You page. That means you have to focus on your hooks, and your hooks is what you're saying in the video, the picture, what's happening in the video as soon as they see the video, but also it's your text on screen. So you got to get very intentional, very strategic with your words, how you're showing up on camera or whatever's going on with your background, and then your text on screen, because you've got 1.5 seconds to capture their attention, but you need to keep them there for at least 3 seconds. Obviously, you want to try to get them to watch it all the way to the end, but at least the first 3 seconds. And so very similar to Instagram, one thing that works on TikTok is talking about trending topics. So Super Bowl, Grammys, Oscars, all the things. I'm not sure what else is coming up right now in pop culture or the news, but you want to try to okay, so if you are a business owner or you are a coach, then obviously talking about Usher may not make sense, so to speak, but what you want to do is see what are people actually talking about in your niche. So you can go to answerthepublic.com and you can type in your topic and you can see what people are talking about right now. You can go to Reddit and Reddit will tell you what people are asking and talking about. But you also can go just directly to TikTok and type in 1 or 2 keywords, and it's going to show you what people are talking about right now. And you want to make some of your content to be around that particular topic. And then lastly, the thing that always works on TikTok is that If TikTok has new features, you want to use them. Every single time a brand new feature comes out, you want to try to use them. I'm not talking about the fun, goofy effects that makes no sense for your brand, but new features. So every single time I post a horizontal video, TikTok continues to push out my content because I'm using that brand new feature and they're trying to get more people to see that type of content, okay? So if there's a new feature on the platform, that's for TikTok or Instagram, you want to try to use that because it's really going to help you. Okay, so I know this was a lot inside of today's episode, but I really wanted to just tell you what is working right now because I guarantee you are trying to make this work. You're trying to crush it with Instagram. You're trying to crush it with TikTok. And so I wanted to do a very robust episode here for February. And my goal is to try to do one every single month. That way you're always caught up on what's going on. So if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe so I'll always give you all the updates on what's working with social media. And if you're listening on the podcast, thank you so much for listening. Make sure you hit subscribe to the podcast and then write a review. But ultimately, I want to just share with you guys. I just want to say thank you so much for supporting me here on my channel as well as on the show. My goal is to continue to get even better with this and help you to grow your online business. So I love you and thank you so much for being here. Thanks for listening to the Kia Kelly podcast. I'm always honored and thankful each time you choose to download and listen to an episode of this podcast, but also when you choose to share it with a friend. Because one of the things that I know is that when I was building my business, it was so important for me to be surrounded by like-minded people. And so when you choose to share our content with your friends, it allows them to be in our space as well, where we can nurture and mentor them as well. And we can just make some new friends. So if you wouldn't mind sharing, I would appreciate it so very much. But in addition to that, if you would do us a huge favor by writing a review and giving us 5 stars, it's going to tell Spotify, iTunes, and all the places that people are enjoying this podcast and that they should share it with more people. And so please share, please write a review, and thank you so much for listening.